Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Superman and Lois Retrospective, the series that I forced my way onto, skin and bones. I came on here and said, "You better let me on this show, or I'm kicking your ass." And I'm here now. So, welcome to episode 2. How is everybody today?
Oh, that wasn't a bad intro. We might let him do that more often.
Yeah. But my day is fine. I think my glasses are crooked, and there's something on them. I need new glasses. I've been coloring them in with a black mark. And then I got bit by a mosquito in the face. But other than that, I'm cool. Work was fairly easy.
Can you imagine if a mosquito tried to bite Superman on the face? Its pincers would break.
Oh, yeah.
It'd die, yeah.
Mosquito
would die.
Yeah.
Yeah. God, now I want to see that. Damn it! I hate that I visualized that. Anyway,
which Superman would you want to see that with, though?
That's not important.
I think it is. But Superman and Lois, season 1, episode 2. Upon my rewatching of it, which just happened on my way home in the car.
While driving,
I just had it in the little holder and I'm listening. No. Honestly, I got up until the point where Superman just caves a hole in the Lexo armor, thinking that he was in there. That's as far as I got. But I love the way Lois is the one to start this episode off and narrate it, as juxtaposed against the very first episode where it's Clark doing the narration.
Right. But they're both in the title, so it makes sense.
Yeah. They're still getting acclimated, moving to Smallville, the transition of it all. We see the boys, just trying to deal with everything. One thing that I noticed and that I'm remembering for my love of this show, I love how the boys genuinely love and care for each other. Yes, they have their sibling bickering moments, but I love how they love and care for each other.
Yeah.
When they feel like real brothers.
Yeah. When Jordan comes back from the fortress, the first time, and they run to each other, they greet each other, they hug each other. I like those little moments. I like how the camera, they're not in focus. They're not the main focus because Clark is talking to Lois, but you see them in the distance. You see them embrace each other. You hear them, just talking about what happened. I love that. It's just, that's one of the traits that I instill in my girls always, no matter what happens. Stick together. Yeah. Your siblings are all that you got at the end of the day. That's how I am with my brother, how I am with my in-laws, that's all you have at the end of the day. So I love that they focused on that with Jordan Elsass and Alex Garfin, and then with Michael Bishop later on down the line. Yeah. That's something that this show kept at the center, and I love it.
Yeah, and it even plays into the episode directly whenever Jordan's feeling disgruntled after the fortress visit didn't go well, and Jonathan's like, I don't care what some hologram said. If nothing's gonna help, if no one's gonna help you through this, then I'll help you. It's like, man, that's good stuff.
Yeah, and I also like the argumentation of their dynamic as well, and how they kind of come back from it, because they are consistently hating each other and bickering and going back and forth. But I love that scene when they're in the house party. He's like, all right, what happened? Just tell me what happened. And it's there was never a fight to begin with. It's I feel as a single child, I feel that's a lot of these sibling dynamics that I've seen either on screen or just in real life, where it's listen, we will shit on each other. No one hates me as much as my siblings, but when it comes down to brass tacks, we are the number one person in each other's lives. And I feel they nailed that dynamic perfectly, and it's really cemented in this episode.
Yeah. And also, speaking on the fortress too, God, some of those shots are just beautiful, the way that they show it. And I'm not trying to shit on this show, but it looked way better than the one you saw on
Supergirl. Yeah. I was thinking that too, because I remember when the show was airing, this was a big thing for the people who didn't want it to be canon. People were like, well, look at this fortress, and look at this fortress. And I don't think that was a deterrent of it not being canon.
Right.
But looking back on it, it's Oh yeah, they didn't even try to make it look like Supergirl.
Right, but I mean,
they
granted, I don't know how feasible this would have been, but they could have tried to use Crisis as their explanation of why it looks different than what we saw.
That is true. But then you saw like Supergirl season 6 a couple months later, where it's like, oh well, we're still using the same fortress.
I was about to say I couldn't remember if they ever went to the fortress in Supergirl post Crisis.
That's how it started because Melissa was pregnant. So wasn't this the season where she had to be stuck in the Phantom Zone, and she got stuck in the Phantom Zone during in the first few episodes.
I barely remember that last.
Yeah, it was that weird time where they aired half of Superman and Lois, they paused, then did half of Supergirl, then went back to Superman, and then back to Supergirl, and it was like, that's a weird template. You should have just waited on Supergirl, air them in the summer, and then just did all through Superman. But no.
Never know. And also the actor they have, I can't remember his name. I feel a little bad about that, but the casting of Jor-El in this, that actually felt like, he would have been that Clark's father.
Yeah, and I also like how AI he feels comparatively to a lot of other ones, because sometimes I forget he's not like really there. He's just he's just a father. Where this one, he's very calculated. He's like, no, this is the way. It's like, I don't feel this way. He's like, I don't care. This is the way. So I think like that aspect of it is really, really cool. Not saying he's one of my favorites, but I think in that aspect, it's maybe one of the more realistic versions of the character.
It fits the show.
Yeah.
And man, they're one thing I love too. I mean, a number of episodes of the show do this, but how you have, there's 3 sides essentially of this episode. You have the story with the boys, the story with Clark and Lois, and then the story with the Superman side of things. And so many of these episodes just balance it out so well. And even the flashbacks you saw in this episode to who we at this point know as Captain Luthor, those other world flashbacks you saw, those were some of the highlights of the episode for me as well. And they even brought back Tyler's black costume from Elseworlds. Yeah. They just reused the resource. So I remember going back and seeing that. I'm like, oh, it's a really smart way to save your budget, because they're like, we already made this suit 5 years ago.
I remember that airing and me just like losing my mind that this was the storyline we were choosing to do season 1 of the show. And like at the time, we didn't know what was going to become of that. I honestly thought that was going to be the season 1 villain. I thought like, oh, we're doing this Luthor thing and he's going to come up through a portal. He's going to invade, like that's kind of where we were at the time. But I think how they introduce, and I'm not sure how much you guys talked about like the Luthor stuff last week, but like how they introduced Luthor, how they introduced this masked figure, and then this episode they double down on it, and you really sympathize with this masked Luthor so much. You're like, wait, does he have a point? Will our Clark turn evil? Does he have a point? And we see throughout the season, kind of, he's kind of right,
a little bit, and it plays into the history that world's Luthor had with Sam, and the history that this one is trying to forge with Sam, and we see where that goes later. And speaking of Sam, I think we get one of the best moments in this episode where he confronts Clark about telling the boys.
I was just about to bring that up.
Man, I love that moment so much.
That gives you that, and that's one thing that I always love, because I remember talking to my wife about it when Dylan Walsh was first cast. I'm like, he looks like he's gonna give us the classic hard ass General Lane, the one who doesn't take any mess, doesn't really too much care for Clark or Superman. He's an asset. He works for him. That's about it. That's their relationship. He cares about his daughter more than anything. And in that one interaction alone, you get that, but at the same time, you get more than that. He's still a caring father. He still cares about Clark as his son-in-law. He cares about his grandsons. He knows the limitations that Jordan has. He knows that Jonathan was going to go far in football in Smallville. He knows that their lives are there. He knows that Lois and the Daily Planet, that's her life. That's all she knows. He knows all of this, and he's letting Clark know. But the fact that he can see it in Clark's face that, oh, you're hiding something from me. You're keeping something from me. You told the boy his intuition, the fact that
he's very smart.
He can look and see directly. He's not scared of the fact that, oh, you're Superman. No, you're my son-in-law. You're the guy who I let marry my daughter, who I gave the blessing to. The fact that he can see through you like that is insane.
Yeah.
Clark, Clark, you have a poker face. You can fake out anybody, but you can't fake out your father-in-law.
No.
That plays
once they know, they know.
Right.
Yeah, that's the whole family aspect of this show that I love. I love that.
And they're not trying to tear each other down. You know, they're just trying to do what they see as best for their family in their own eyes. Because, you know, Sam even says, you know, I've seen the toll this life's taken on Lois over the years. Now you're going to put the boys through that too. He's not trying to be an ass or anything. He's coming from a place of genuine concern. Now, granted, he doesn't always go about it in the best way, as we see, you know, later in the season. But, you know, those interactions between him and Clark, they don't end in that episode either. The drama doesn't end there. It continues. And that's what I feel like some of these shows did very poorly on the two opposite ends of the spectrum. You either had the drama drag out too long or wrap up too quickly. And this show plays it out so well.
Yeah, I really like what I do with like Kryptonite in this episode and just the show as a whole. Like I like this is a very long-winded Superman. They've been doing this for a while, so it makes sense Kryptonite wouldn't be as accessible. But I like it's not around, not because we used it all up, because Sam was gathering it all up for the last. Like take this piece and this piece and this piece. I'm gonna keep it in here, and just like the setup of that, like they don't really dive into it this episode, but it's a looming idea, it's a looming threat, and it's something that we can dive into more in future episodes when it's more prominent. But like just that like little hint of drama, that little hint of reserve from both Lois and Clark, where Lois is like, we're gonna use this bottle, aren't we? We're gonna say, yep.
I love how those scenes became such a staple in the show. The porch wine sessions,
the front porch scene,
those just became such a staple whenever something happened. And you know, unlike any I was going to say, unlike a worse written show where, you know, somebody from the Flash is like, hey, can I talk to you in the hallway? It's like, oh no, what is it now? With this one, you're like, okay, we're about to get a good scene here.
It feels natural. It doesn't feel like, okay, it's this time of the episode. It's like, no, it's just,
it's like, all right, time for your
it's 12 o'clock. Oh yeah, it's time for pep talk. Yeah.
You know, like time for your hourly lecture.
Another key point of the episode that I noticed is during the town hall where Kyle is glazing the mayor and he's polishing the scepter of Morgan Edge. Like, dog, like I hated Kyle. Kyle Cushing.
I think we all did at that point.
Kyle Cushing is the biggest glazer of anybody, and it's insane. Like, you played this role to a T, dog. Like,
Eric Valdez. He understood.
Eric Valdez, like, I've never seen anybody glaze a grown man like this in my life. Well, I mean, to this extent, it's insane. Like,
I kind of really disagree, because I think he's, especially now, he's such a good representation of so many American men.
You're right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
were they preparing us?
I think I really do like his arc this season, and even these last couple episodes, because yes, he's a representation of a lot of people and their beliefs, and how they can be blinded by personality. This is the way they think. It's hard to move, and I that's what makes me love Kyle even more, because we slowly see him, like, once he wakes up, it's like, fuck, okay, I need to change how I view the world. But I also like, in these first two episodes, he's not this like one-dimensional, I'm an asshole character and that's it. He's a loving father, he's a good man. Like, I like that scene with him and Lois where they're arguing back and forth, but he's like, okay, you are still my friend. Here's your food. Have a good day. And there's a reserve there, because he wants to push forward. He wants to prove his point, but he also knows that will make him an asshole. And he's like, I have to leave this situation or I will get heated here. And that's how I think you build a really good character. It's not this one note character arc. He has a bunch of layers to his character, which I quite enjoy.
You want to know what else?
I never understood why they had to do this with Kyle, and honestly, multiple CW shows did this. I don't understand why it was a staple to where they had to make every Latino father constantly refer to their daughter as Mija.
Mija, yeah.
Like, why did they
Mija.
keep doing that?
Mija.
Jake, you weren't here for Lance's like 20-minute Kyle
Yeah.
impression sessions we were doing for like all of season 3 and all of season 4.
God,
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's and again, Kyle is a weird character, which again I bet we'll talk about more as we get further in.
Oh yeah.
But like Kyle is like inconsistent the character where it's like I either love you or I hate you. Like and sometimes I'm in between, and like every episode I was like, all right, which Kyle am I getting this week? Which version of you am I getting?
Yeah, but no, I think that stuff was particularly strong, and you know the I love to at that town hall sequence you have the version of Lois that wants what.
Huh? I love that scene. That's all. Sorry.
Go ahead. The version of Lois that wants to, express the truth and dig for it, but she's, harboring a pretty big secret herself. And then you have somebody like Chrissy in that who is like wants to dig after the truth but has no secrets. Yeah. So it's like these two people who want the same thing, but one of them is being held back by something. And you see what that does to their connection over the course of the season, to where Lois can't exactly be, the version of her that Chrissy idolizes, and it creates good drama.
Yeah, and I think this was a really good episode, really showcasing who Lois is as well. Like she is this person, I think Rachel got a lot of compliments this season of how they wrote her to be this journalism first and this great, version of the character, which I 100% agree. But I also think
this isn't Rachel, this is Elizabeth.
No. I know. I'm saying people were saying that about Rachel this year. I think Betsy also does that to a T. Like I think they show how despite everything else, she craves the truth. She trays like getting down to the brass tacks. And she would like even if everyone is telling her don't do this, she just can't fucking help herself.
Has to. Yeah.
She's like, fuck, all right, I have to do it.
Right. And even Clark, he's like, okay, you're gonna do this anyway. You're not gonna listen. So maybe try to do like this, and this. He knows she's going to, no matter what he says. Even with all his powers, he can't stop it.
And I love that Morgan Edge scene where it's like, that's my favorite thing about Lois Lane. She'll tell the truth even if it's to her own employer. And it's like, it's so good.
I will say, Bitsy is the reason why this show will have the lasting legacy that it does. Yeah, Elizabeth Tulloch's tenure, time, whatever you want to call it, as Lois Lane is easily gold standard. Top 5 Lois Lanes, and she's at the top of the list. I've always loved her portrayal, even from the early small little snippets of not Smallville, of Supergirl and Elseworlds and Crisis.
Kick his ass.
He's a jerk.
She shared scenes with 3 different Supermen, and I love that. Yeah. I love that. Like,
you'll catch me.
Can we just? I would love to just see her in the role just one more time. That's why I will never get tired of rewatching Superman and Lois, just because Elizabeth Tulloch, and I've been a huge fan of her since her Grimm days.
But I think that's what solidifies these two characters having such a lasting impact, is that their tenures as the characters had a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it didn't drag.
Yeah.
They know how to keep it. They know how to keep it fresh with Lois every season, every episode.
You're right.
And the fact that this Lois, she's not scared. Yes, Kyle is being a complete asshole. He's like he's being a complete asshole. Like it's insane. It's insane the fact that like the way that Kyle is coming at her. I found it hilarious that he's so uppity and thinks she's so uppity and thinks she's better than everybody. That he just assumed that she was a vegan. I said, Kyle, that's that's a horrible assumption to have.
There's one other scene at the barbecue that I wanted to point out there that you brought up, because Darren brought up the whole, thing where he'll still, welcome into his home, give her food, that sort of thing. On the opposite end of that spectrum, I loved the scene with Clark and Lana, where
yeah,
whenever they're like moving, whenever they're back, and she goes, "Oh, well, don't go anywhere. I just got you back." People blow that scene out of proportion
Yeah.
so
They
much.
definitely do, but
And-
I get it. I get why. I
Right, but
understand why.
that shows you that that's the sort of friendly connection that they can have as purely just that, and that just that moment. I mean, she did plenty of great stuff later in the series, but just that one moment, Alana, felt like there was more character there, like more actual legitimate character than the entirety of what we got in Smallville.
I really like that scene because it feels like, I think there's so many complicated emotions in that, where like in that moment she's feeling like she got her friend back. She's not even thinking about what she just said, and then she says it. She's like, "Oh wait, should I have said that? I have a husband. I have you have a wife."
Like she's saying friend. She's not saying, "Oh, I got my old boyfriend back." It's her friend.
I got my friend back. Yeah, and it's like, again, I think she's probably feeling like self-conscious about what she just said. It was like, wait, was what I just said weird? And it's her like readjusting to like this new dynamic that they can now have, and how easy it is to kind of slip right in, because like her and Kyle, they definitely did have their problems over the years. Like, they weren't a perfect marriage. So, but like, I do think it's very on purpose. It's very clear. Like, she loves her husband, he loves hers, and going into the show, I was terrified. I was like, okay, we have Lois, Lana, and Clark. I was so afraid. Like, this was the first time we ever went into a CW DC TV show with a character married. Only time that's ever happened. And so I was like, please don't do love triangle shit. That would have ruined the show, in my opinion. And they stayed so clear from it. To be fair, they gave it to the kids instead, but that's another conversation.
Right. I mean, this was kind of Smallville, but for the kids.
Yeah,
in a sense. And people even say, like, people have made the comparison that and it makes even more sense with how you see them at the end of the series, but we'll get there later. That Sarah was essentially Jordan's Lana.
100%. Yeah.
Yep.
But no, and even some of the scenes between them, like the kids, where you really see them getting into it. Are there some moments, or like, are there some lines where you're like, I don't know if that landed. Yeah, sure, but it's that realistic thing that a teenager would say.
Yeah, I think the worst of it is probably Kyle and Chrissy, and like, even them I'm a fan of, right? Like, later in the show, I mean, like season 4, like season 3 and 4 stuff, where I'm like, oh, that was a little weird, but you know what?
Yeah,
it's so charming that I can kind of put that aside.
Yeah, like there's an earnestness to it.
Speaking of Chrissy, back to the scene at Town Hall. The fact that Lois notices her, catching a peek again and again.
I like that,
in classic Lois fashion, and Bitsy plays this to a T. Bitsy, if you're watching this, we love you a lot as Lois. You're amazing. I help you? Yeah. She just walks up to like, "Can I help you?" And then like, she just starts fangirling out. I love it. Like, she just starts fangirling out of nowhere. That's the moment I knew, like, Chrissy Beppo, one of the best written original characters.
Yeah.
I like Chrissy quite a bit
of this season. Yeah. But let's talk about Captain Luthor. No, before we get back to Captain Luthor, aka aka John Henry, let's talk about the fact that I didn't pay this much attention to it because I wasn't covering shows actively when this season aired. I was watching this season just as a fan because I was excited to have some Superman on TV, and it was my favorite Superman, Tyler Hoechlin. So I was just just being happy it was on. The fact that this man has tried this in several other cities, who knows the damage that he's done? He's tried this in several other cities over the years, and I didn't piece that together until I was actually sitting and listening to it, like just brain completely like trying to catch like little bits and pieces. And Lois says, "What happened in New Carthage and all the other cities?" I said, "Bro," and then he talked about like putting workers in the mines or whatever. I'm like, "Bro, you were looking for this stuff for years," and then it pulled me in. He's been trying to find his family for years. He's been looking for Clark for years. He's been trying to do this. That's like, talk about determination.
Yeah.
You're going from small town to small town to small town in the under the guise of, I'm going to provide jobs. And lo and behold, the one person that figures out you're full of shit is Lois Lane.
Yeah.
Like that great storytelling all around. Like,
and I love the bit.
You cold.
Yeah, I love the bit at the end of that storyline where she just walks into the planet completely zero focus, and she's like, "That's the best thing I ever wrote. What you do with it's up to you." And she walks away from Lar, who is very much not human, and says, and she goes, "He's going to ruin you." And without missing a beat, she goes, "Let him try."
So good.
It's like,
I really want to know.
Yeah.
I really want to know, like, Leslie Lar, from what we understand, that's the Kryptonian that's inside this lady's body. But who is the lady? I wish we could have known who she was before the Kryptonian took over her. And that's another thing that didn't quite click at first. Because when you look at kids who were exposed, they just got powers.
Yeah, they were possessed.
But then it pivoted to being possessed. That's one of the things that caught me off guard about the first season. And as we get deeper and deeper into it, maybe paying more attention, we'll figure it out. Maybe, like they went the whole route of, yes, we need a reason for people to start developing random powers. But at the same time, we don't. It's like they came up with an idea, but just didn't stick to it. That may be like a little nitpick, but like I said, we'll dive more into that as we go along. But like it's very interesting. Like upon like rewatching it and seeing things and picking out things that you didn't really pay that much attention to before. Yeah, this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be fun.
Just from a production standpoint, this episode, along with so many,
beautiful,
looks incredible. Gorgeous. The fight between Superman and Luthor near the end of the episode looked amazing. I love how this is something that the show kind of does repeatedly, but whenever you see the red lights go up in the DEO, definitely not the best red light sequence we get in the show, but we'll get that later. And it just essentially, like, when I was watching this first season, because I was so impressed with the production quality, it felt like you were watching a movie every week because of how good it was.
Like I think especially season 1, polish it up a little tiny bit here and there, like maybe some, like the lighting choices could have been a little polished up, but like you could put that in a movie theater. And I don't know,
like I kind of love those golden hour looks that the Kent farm got whenever you were whenever you were opening up the episodes. It's like,
agreed.
Right, like it just gives you a really bright feeling as you get into the episode.
Agreed. Sometimes, and it's not the whole show. I think especially season 1, some of it does look a little gray. Sometimes, not all the time.
I agree.
Some of the sequences where I'm like, oh, that looks really dark in here, right?
Yeah, but, and especially as you get into later seasons, you can tell there's a little bit of muting going on.
Yeah,
but then that's really contrasted with some great stuff later. So it's not as if it ever ruins it.
What else? The look of like pure disbelief and awe and amazement that we see from Jonathan and Jordan in the beginning when they're doing housework with Clark, and he's just like, yeah, I'll take this. I just need the wrench, and he's just flying up, like, and they're just sitting there like, it's like they know, but they still can't believe it. I love just those small nuances, the small things that you know that you don't really notice at first, that you notice in passing. Like is top tier, and the fact that John Henry, as we know him, Captain Luthor is using non-lethal force on all these other people, and we know what he's trying to do, but I didn't peep. It's non-lethal methods, but at the same time, you were willing. You knew Clark was gonna go blow that up.
There's a bomb.
It was a legit bomb, but you knew he was gonna go catch it.
Yep.
I caught this one scene that I thought was very interesting. Like when he's interrogating the first guy for like kryptonite, and he's such a running away, he like raises his hands up, blast it, but then they cut away. We think that guy's dead, but looking back on it, it's like, oh, he probably like shot the ceiling or something.
And it's like and then like when he blows everybody back, especially at the DOD, it's just a concussive blast.
I said DO, I meant DOD. My bad.
Yeah,
there's so many.
It's a great mystery. It's like looking at this now, it's like, oh, all the little things that we didn't know about yet that we wouldn't get unless we like rewatch it. It's so good.
And the fact that John, go ahead.
I was gonna say little detail that I liked whenever they show you that 7734 pendant. I kind of like the fact that if you flip it upside down, it spells hell.
Yeah.
And that's something that I noticed the first time watching through it. I'm like, does that mean something? But by the time the season kind of gets to where it is, it kind of does become a hell on earth in a sense because of the way that the end of the season plays out.
It does make you wonder, and it's something that's really left up to imagination and on the cutting room floor. But we never really do find out if Clark on that other Earth was possessed
or just evil.
Or if he just decided to turn evil.
I think he's just evil.
If he was inherently just, the Morgan Edge.
I think he's like a Zod. Yeah.
Because a lot of people are comparing him to Injustice Superman. I'm like, no, that Superman became that way because he lost Lois. Lois was clearly still there. So that wouldn't have been a reason.
I would not be shocked if he if it was Zod. Like Zod came down to Earth, it's like, hey, this is who you are. Like, help me destroy Earth. It's like, all right, I have no one else, kind of thing,
Yeah, that could have very well been it.
Yeah, because even in the Heroes Twilight, whatever you want to call it, books, and they brought that Clark to the main. I was about to say 616 to Earth Prime when they brought the to the Earth Prime world.
Yeah,
Kara flat out called him Clark, and he answered to it.
Yeah,
interesting.
So it's apparent like this was he just decided to turn, but the events, and that's what I love about the multiverse. The events kind of line up simultaneously. That way, John Henry Irons can tell you that, oh, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen. Yeah. But it's happening differently. It's just crazy how that's synced up with his arrival.
Yeah,
that's actually crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like looking back on it, maybe they were setting up some kind of like crossover thing, right? Because a lot of us said like next big crossover event could be like Crime Syndicate. That's what a lot of people are saying. That could have been a really cool version of that. Like they were kind of saving that over in that pocket. Maybe that whole world has like an evil Justice League, and that's kind of how we would bring everything together. Like that could have been a cool aspect of it.
Potentially. Yeah, I think we pretty much hit all the major points here. We hit a lot of the stuff we liked. Maybe talked about some of the stuff where looking at it at the time we didn't like it, but hindsight is 2020, and we see how it's all played out. Yeah, man, I'm having more and more fun each time we do this.
Yeah, and very fun.
And we got Darren down there as part of it now.
Darren is added, and as time goes on, I'm not even going to say you may see more. I know our whole group of friends, we loved Superman and Lois. Yeah. You see us every week on each other's podcasts, in each other's random videos or whatever. Guys, keep coming with us on this journey. Like, share, and subscribe to each of these channels if you like these retrospectives. We're going to keep going. The Arrowverse, CWverse, early years of the DC universe on TV, it's in full nostalgia mode right now, and we're here for it. I missed this time. Like, I didn't get to do this when the shows were in their early years, so this is fun, and I appreciate you guys for just joining me in this idea. Like I said, me and Jake came up with this, and it's gonna expand to other shows later on down the line, and I'm here for it. So yeah.
If only I hadn't seen that random YouTube short, we wouldn't be
I know,
here
right? Now. I know, right? But thanks everybody for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. It'll be uploaded also on Jake's channel. Go support him. Go support Darren. Like I said, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we'll catch you all next time. May the Kryptonian powers protect you. And again, Elizabeth Tellick, if you're watching, you're the GOAT.